Arriving at the job interview, a boy and a girl who were walking in front of her pull her dress, leaving her with only her underwear. Desperate and trying to cover herself, she asks why they did that, but they just laugh and keep walking. The woman who was sweeping the company's floor sees the situation that just happened and says she's going to get some clothes for her to wear. As soon as she returns, she hands over the clothes, saying it's very simple, but that it should be enough to use in the interview. She thanks him and the woman rushes her so she doesn't miss the interview. Arriving at the interview room, Alana apologizes for being late and asks if she can sit down. The interviewer says that delays are not acceptable, but that she can sit with the other contestants. She sits down between them and the interviewer begins to explain the first activity. In front of you, there are 15 pieces, and I want you to make a cube. Start on my signal, 3, 2, 1, and go. When they are in the process of assembling Anderson, one of the contestants drops Alana's cube, pretending to have accidentally done it. She gets irritated and he asks if she's going to cry just because of that. She doesn't say anything and goes back to writing. At that time, Louise, the other competitor, does the same and drops all her pieces, saying, "Do you really think you're going to get this vacancy?" The interviewer says that she's going to go out just for a while to get some water, but that she'll be right back. At that time, the cleaning lady who saw everything that was happening comes in and says, "Hey, I saw everything, that's cheating." And Louise says, "What is cheating?" "You're going to clean the floor, maid, and something else when I'm manager of this place. Here, you're going to be the first person I'm going to send away. Now get out of my way." And Sammy, who is the cleaning lady, replies, "The first thing I'm going to do if you become a manager is to resign. I don't work with people like you." Anderson again throws all of Alana's pieces to the ground, but she doesn't say anything. At that time, the interviewer returns and asks everyone to take their hands off the table, because the time for the activity is over. The maid tries to talk to the interviewer. Carol knows what happened here, but she is interrupted. Carol goes to the table, analyzes the activities of the three competitors, and says, looking at Anderson and Alana, "That's what I see, only 2 scored points in the first phase." The 2 who passed by cheating laugh, and Carol says she will have a 5-minute break until the other activity. During the break, Anderson looks at Alana and says, "It's not possible that you don't know how to make a simple cube. It's certain that this job isn't really for you. You'd better give up and leave this job to someone who really knows, like me." Alana replies that the 2 only won because they cheated and guarantees that in the next phase she will win. Louise calls her a loser and mocks her for accepting help from the maid, who, upon hearing this, threatens to hit Louise, but is prevented by Alana, who calls her to a corner and says he has a plan in mind. Anderson doesn't like to see the 2 gossiping in the corner. The break ends, the second phase of the selection process begins, and Carol begins to explain. "In this phase I will assess your mathematical aptitude. This is a logic exam. I usually say that this is the most complete exam I have ever taken. So I need you to be extremely objective in your answers. You have 10 minutes to complete the test and the winner will get a cash bonus." While they are taking the test, Carol goes to her room to separate the money. When Sammy asks the 2 to have a conversation, she allows it and Sammy enters explaining, "I know I have nothing to do with this, but the guilt is consuming me, and I need to tell you something very serious." In the test room, after they finish answering, Anderson takes Alana's evaluation, and when he starts to throw water on the sheet, Sammy arrives saying, "Stop behaving like children. This test can change your lives. Be adults and stop acting ugly children." He looks at her with contempt, asks what she's doing and tells her to go away. Meanwhile, she passes the sheet so that Louise can spoil it. Louise throws water on the sheet and then on Alana's clothes. After Alana has her test wet and torn, Carol arrives in the room saying that the time is up and then asks them to hand over the sheets. The 2 who cheated start laughing at her because they think she would not be able to pass the second phase, but she surprises by removing another sheet from under the table completely clean and answered. Carol finishes collecting the evidence and says she'll be right back with the results. After the two leave the room, Sammy sits next to Alana and asks how she managed to do that, since she saw the evidence being destroyed, and she replies, "I told you not to worry about it. My plan was to be smarter than them. I finished the test as fast as I could and put it down from the table because I knew they were going to do something to me. That sheet that was on the table and they got it wet was not important." Sammy talks about how surprised she was and congratulates Alana. A little later Carol comes back with the results. "Sorry for the delay and thanks for waiting. I'm already here with the list and the score for each one. Mr. Anderson, his score was 76, Ms. Louise, his score was 85, and the best score was that of Mrs. Alana, who got 96 points, so she is the winner of the second stage. With that, everyone is tied and the third phase will define who will be the new manager of the company. When the last stage begins, Carol asks Sammy to bring the suitcase and says, "There's a lot of money in here. Are you ready for the third test?" They say yes, and when she turns around a thief arrives threatening her and stealing the money bag. Carol gets desperate and says that that's all he has and that he can take it. Everyone in the room raises their hand and the thief says he knows there's a lot more money in there. He pulls Sammy and says, "If they don't bring more money, I'm going to hurt this woman right here." Carol says, "Calm down please, here the company has many cameras, I'm sure the police are coming, you better give up." But the thief says he's not going to leave until he gets more money. Carol keeps begging him to give up and leave them alone, when Anderson says, looking at the thief, "Calm down, I heard that this company has a lot of money, and if you want I can help you look for it." Louise also offers to help, says that the money is in the other office, and proposes that they split the money later. The thief asks if it's true and that if it's not, he'll hurt the woman he's with. Alana asks him to calm down and not to hurt Sammy. She also says that she has some money kept there and that she can give it to him. The thief asks if she's really going to hand over all the money for a woman she barely knows, and she replies, "Yes, I will. Nobody deserves to be hurt, even more so for money. Please, I give you all my money, just leave her alone." At that time, Carol says, Joel has already stopped and lets her go. The boy lets go of Sammy, and Carol thanks him for having helped in the third phase of the test. After Joel leaves, Carol says, "This test was the most real to test the character of each one, and two of you let me down by wanting to give all my money to the thief, unlike Alana, who was the only one who had empathy with her, Sammy, and was in our defense. So congratulations, you are the new manager of the company." Alana thanks her, and then Carol kicks Anderson and Louise out of the company, saying she never wants to see either of them in there again. They leave and Carol hands Alana the suitcase saying, "Congratulations, this money is yours too." She thanks him and says she won't disappoint. Carol replies that she knows that, and Alana asks, "And you, Sammy? Did you know about all this with the thief?" Carol replies, "Of course, Sammy has been with me for many years, she already knew everything. You, as a new person in the company, will need a reliable person by your side, just like Sammy. Now come on, I'll show you to your room."